Our quality build's good. The answer is no. No, they're not good. But they are better than they were. Here's a quality build. Here are the stats. It's at level 80. Last patch, they said that they buffed Keen Infusion. That was incorrect. They actually buffed quality infusions, and I wanted to check it out. Here's some quality weapons, except for the last sword. And here's the talismans I'm using. I can swap out to a bunch of different stuff for utility, but I mostly use the two-handed talisman for 15% extra damage when two-handing. It's actually pretty insane. So what you give up in damage in a quality build, you make up for it in utility. Just the ability to use a bunch of different stuff. Quality builds were some of my favorite builds in DS3, and I really wanted to try it when Elden Ring came out. However, on launch, quality builds were pretty bad. And I shouldn't say quality builds. Having stats that way is not terrible, but the quality infusion, the infusion specifically for equal strength and equal dex was pretty bad. But it's buffed now, so I get a chance to try it out. This invasion was, whoop, that was a close one. Pretty drawn out. They have a lot of good utility for keeping me on my toes. They have some ranged options that do a lot of damage. They have somebody just running in, spamming with the katana and Hoarfrost Stomp. So I had to play it a little bit safe here. If you noticed earlier, I actually have significantly less strength than I do dex, and that's because when you two-hand, you times your strength value by 1.5. So you can get away with having a little bit less strength if you need the points. So this is about 40-40 even for strength dex. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. I swapped to Stormblade on Claymore because I wanted something that could reach out and touch them. It kind of forces them to not be passive. They have to, you know, aggress on me now. And you cannot really strafe Stormblade that well unless you're sprinting. So he just ate a bunch of free damage. And he locked himself into an animation there, so you know, I'm just waiting for him to slip up, and then we get a kill. This is a bug that's coming up. If you try to chug too quickly after regaining your flasks, it doesn't consume them, and you also don't heal. It's been like that for a long time, so it's just a glitch. But now it's me alone with the host. And he's using the Bloodhound Fang, which is also a quality weapon. I think it scales really well off of anything, really, but it is a equal scaling in dex and strength. But I'm just using the trusty old Claymore. I think this is CC at plus 15. So honestly, it could be better, but I like the moveset. Ah, lovely roll catch there with R2, and then finish him off with Stormblade. So that's a good example of remaining calm in invasions like that. Let's see, this one, I've actually really wanted to test out this weapon. It's a glaive. It's a halberd. It has a chop moveset. But I was told this was a quality weapon, and so I really wanted to try it out. You know, one advantage of quality, though, is that it's strictly physical damage. And since it's strictly physical damage, it has less defenses that it has to go through. Oh, that guy's gone. He's deleted. And you can also still buff the weapons. So, you know, the damage is lower than if I just went pure strength or pure dex, but I can buff it with Mesmer Fire Grease here and get an extra 100-ish damage. So I really don't lose anything at all. This troll is really starting to tick me off. I managed to catch this guy at the very edge of my weapon with that charged R2 to finish him off. But yeah, that troll was really ticking me off. This was a fun little invasion. Whenever I get an invasion here, I always just assume that the host is going to run for it. But then in this case, they decided to try to chase me down. They're doing a little dance there. Luckily, I was able to turn this into a 2v1 pretty quickly by just knocking somebody off a ledge right there. And I swapped to the Lance, which I believe is a BB or a CC scaling. So it does pretty good damage, and then I did this as a roll catch. This is a true combo. Look at that damage. That is amazing. And it's a weapon buff, so it buffs itself and gives me about 100 damage. I can't do the follow-up here because I ran out of stamina, but it's okay because the host just decides to run away. And I decided I try to knock him off here, but he decides to take care of that for me. So, GG's. This one, this is the worst case scenario, I would say, for the quality build, because my damage will be significantly lower. Anybody that has a lot of flat defenses, particularly from being overleveled, is just going to be a real pain to kill. For those that don't know, as you level up, you just gain defensive stats. Not the stats that govern, like, you know, if you can use a weapon or something like that, but just your defensive ability, I should say. I think it's called resistance. It was called absorption in the other games, but it just goes up, and it's not really scaled down that well. So if you're like this person here with the Moon Veil, where you're level 287, you have, you know, 200 levels of resistances that I don't have. So fighting these guys is going to take some work, and they're a little bit laggy as well. So I try to not get caught in in this Rot Breath. If you notice, I swapped talismans. I have the Faith Talisman on hand, so I can have just enough Faith to cast Flame Cleanse Me or Bestial Vitality, so I can remove status effects, or I can set up a passive heal, which can come in handy. I rolled this a little too early, so I get clipped, but luckily I don't take full damage. I also... that was a dumb. I rolled in because I wanted to backstab that guy, and I just ate Moonveil. Moonveil projectile for like, basically half my health. Luckily, the PvE in this area is pretty vicious. Even just the standard soldiers have a combo that can basically one-shot you. So I either need to kill the host and just end this, or I need to whittle this guy down quickly. But as you can see, I'm starting to run out of heals. Like I said, damage isn't great. It's certainly better than it used to be. And it's good that it's that way. I think that if you did comparable damage to just investing in one staff, then why not go quality, right? This guy gets a little cheeky and goes to trade with me. And here we can see the amount of runes that he drops. So I can confirm that he's 287. And as you can see from the host is pretty kitted out too, at least as far as defenses go. So he can just, doesn't take that much damage. But he does roll himself into a corner, and that's all she wrote. So, you know, skill does play a part in these invasions. It's supposed to be host-sided, but, you know, it doesn't mean you can't win. This was a fun little invasion. I think I die here, but not before taking out the host. And I use one of my favorite setups, which is Warcry on a Halberd. So Warcry changes your R2 moveset to this nice lunge. There you can see. And it gives you insane hyper armor. So I can basically trade with anything. And that's good because if you see the host there with the claws is using Storm Stomp. Storm Stomp, if you get caught in it, gives them one free attack. And with those claws and with Bloodflame Blade, I'm probably just going to bleed out instantly if I get hit. So it behooves me to not get caught in Storm Stomp. Take some chip damage there. Look at that dodge. That was just luck. That wasn't skill. I refreshed Storm Stomp here, and I'm trying to go for the mage because I saw that he didn't have that much health. But I have to end up swapping out my plan here a little bit. Here we go. Look. See, I had enough hyper armor to just go through that. And then he continues the attack, but I also had hyper armor on my next attack, so I was able to two-shot him. Here we go. I was talking about this earlier, and now it's here. The Bloodhound Fang. Bloodhound Fang is probably one of the best weapons in this game. There's a reason why you see a lot of newbies using it. You throw any amount of strength and dex towards it, and use the weapon art, and then you do insane damage. You'll see here in a little bit. But it is quality scaling, so it's equal strength and dex scaling. So I thought I would try it. And here I'm using grease, right? I think I'm doing about 500-ish damage. Actually, maybe more like 450. But with the grease, again, it's 100 extra damage. Granted, it has to go through its own set of defenses for fire, right? But every little bit of damage helps. As you can see, these guys don't have that much vigor, but they are very aggressive, which is good for me because I can punish that aggression. As you can see there, the amount of damage that they do to me is significantly less than I do to them. There we go, 497. So yeah, about 500 damage, give or take. They're both a little bit laggy. Not really sure where they're from, but it's good in my case. Here I managed to clip him at the very edge of my hitbox. I don't remember if it was because I got greedy or if I just made a mistake here, but I do get roll caught a couple times as I'm trying to bait these guys down to the PvE. I think I go for a parry here, which on latency, on any bit of lag, is just kind of a bad idea. See, it didn't even count me getting hit. I didn't stagger from that until later. So I try to just space out those attacks, but because they're laggy, it's just harder to do. So I should be safety rolling here, which I end up deciding to do. Lead them back down here towards the archers. So these archers do work, especially around level 80. As you can see there. One of the nice things about Kurt Greatswords is that they have insane amounts of phantom range. They reach out a lot further than you think they would. There, I used R2 into the weapon art to try to get them. It was a true combo into the disconnect. But yeah, insane amounts of damage. I think this might be the last invasion. A lot of the DLC weapons scale pretty well with quality. The Milady actually is kind of a quality weapon. So here we go. I have one of my favorite things to do is to counter an Ash of War with the jump. And look at that counter damage. Oh my goodness. And again, I'm getting extra 15% damage to whatever I'm doing because I have that talisman. 15%. I don't know if I said 50. I get a little bit greedy here. This Ash doesn't really have hyper armor, so against something that does have hyper armor, like a greatsword, I just eat a bunch of damage. I need to get a little bit more space. There we go. Do the counter. Just some nice, quick, swift chops, and that's all she wrote. So yeah, quality. It's better than it was. It's still not great, but I love it.